Okay, we're gonna go.
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
You had a chance to look at the,
Okay, I'll entertain a motion to accept.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Okay. We've got, Barry Melton from Strict. Go ahead and make the presentation.
Okay, just to remind you where we're at, this was since the turn of the year with the election tariffs and what have you. It's slow, but it's not the slowest we've ever been. It's not even comparable to the old days of a slow time. It's just the slowest that we've probably been in the last 13 years, but that's actually starting to change even over the last couple of weeks with stocking more business. We did go down to 100, we've got about 100 people, but we just put signs up today for hiring again. So we slowed the schedule down to allow the sales force to fill in some holes in our schedule, which is we're doing. A couple of the last trade deals seem to have turned the tables a good bit, and we pretty much expect it to continue to do that. So as long as the Middle East don't fall apart, we're pretty optimistic about what we're doing. And we just invested another $750,000 in CapEx expenses. Yeah, we're not going anywhere. We do send out when we get within 60 days of potentially running out of a schedule. I think we're probably one of the only ones that do it, but we do issue warrant letters. I wish we didn't do that because it freaks people out. But and I've been asked by numerous other plants around the county why we do that, and that we're the only ones that do it. But it's just something we've always done. That's all part of our legal team. If it were me, we wouldn't do it, but we do. So, but everything's taken a positive turn. And it's looking up, and we're starting to stack business, and we're pretty much out through the rest of the year now. And like I said, hopefully it looks like some other business with some long-time customers. There's some potential out there that we're in the running for some rather large orders, and should be back to making some good money here very shortly.
So you have about 100 employees?
Yes. And we just put the signs up today to bring more back.
How many are you looking at bringing on?
It depends. We're going to start stockpiling some applications to see what's out there because we haven't been bringing new people on for a while, so we don't really have a really good feel for what the labor pool actually is. And if right off the bat we start getting good ones, we'll start hiring them right away, and we'll just keep going as long as we keep filling the schedule. And then the idea is to be back up to close to 200 people. And when we fill the schedule, I mean that's what we operate at. So.
When was the last time you were staffed at the 180 mark?
So this is 2025. It would have been at some point probably in 2024 because we had 4 straight quarters that were record. It was a record year for us. It started slowing down with the election, and then when the tariffs started, the threat of that came about. It just causes customers to hit the pause button because of the uncertainty. And when ships and stuff stop coming into the ports, even though China's a big player in that game, and they didn't allow Chinese ships back in the ports until April of this year. But so when that happens, goods aren't moving, and that's one of the huge drivers of our industry, as well as housing and automotive. But those seem to be pretty strong.
So it sounds like it's been several years though, you haven't had 188, correct?
No, we've been up to 180 probably. I don't have the number right in front of me, but we were right up there probably, I want to say a year ago.
Which was before the tariffs.
Yes, yeah, before that. So when the turn of the year when the new president took office and then the tariff threats, I mean, yeah, that started causing people to reel back a little bit. So basically this year it's been a little bit slow. We still made money the fourth quarter last year, but we've just not been replacing people that we lose up until now.
What is your starting wages?
Well, it's a little tricky, but it's you're around $20 an hour, and then if you're there 4 days a week, you get an extra $2 an hour. So all in all, it can be, depending on what technical level you're at. My maintenance guys make probably about $26, $27 an hour. But basic assemblers are right around 20, then 22 if they show up for 16 days a month. It seems to be competitive with what everybody else is doing, and sometimes more, especially with the $2 an hour. I mean, we're probably not the highest, I don't think, but we try to reassess that a couple times a year to make sure that we are.
So is staffing not according to, looks like with the agreement, you said 180 people. What about capital depreciation?
As far as
Is it increased? Is it where you expected it to
it's
be?
about the same. We did cut a couple. I did a partial of a $3.5 million. Doing a partial bit of that now because we need to, and then we will end up finishing that up. So, like I said, we just did another $750,000 here in the last 30 days. And that's all CapEx expenses for upgraded equipment, new equipment, and then we're actually looking at another robotic system in our industry it's over $1 million, and that is in the budget for fourth quarter this year. So as long as we continue to fill the schedule, that money will get spent.
What is the robotics for? I mean,
So it's it replaces one of the last robust physical labor processes that we have. It is used in an operation where we put the roofs on the trailers. Try to get rid of a lot of the repetitive motion. It doesn't replace people. We just move them someplace. But ergonomic stuff, repetitive motion, just some of the stuff that is not the most desirable place to be and things to do, and it's up in the ceiling where it's hot. But it's expensive and it's very unique to our industry, and so we're going to embark on that, working with a company actually in Fort Wayne, outside of Fort Wayne, that has actually made them before. Just a little expensive.
How many layoffs did you experience over the last year?
Over the last year, just one. And that's what we're calling back now. Just the one.
When was your compliance form filled out?
For the,
With the statement of benefits, personal property?
when it was initially done,
Yes.
I want to say 2016, 2017. Because, well, that was when we
had
had
the current one brought out, it said you had 119 employees. So when was that?
When was that? Okay, so that's just recent then, or relatively recent. I wonder if they're counting some of the indirect salaried staff on that. Right now, total, we should have around 100. So the last, I don't have the date in front of me. It's been within the last year. We really didn't start slowing. Things didn't start slowing down till about the first of the turn of the year, into January, beginning of February, is when you started seeing some reactions from customers.
I think it was sent to the town in May. They said it.
That's probably about right.
So you've lost about 19 employees since May?
I'm not, maybe, it must be. So we've had a couple, some of those I can tell you, just went and got new jobs where they weren't laid off. It's just people jumping to do other things, and we've lost a few to that, so that's probably right. Be pretty accurate.
Hey, Brett, what's your title? What's your title?
Manufacturing engineering manager.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm one of the senior managers.
Anything else?
No, I'll entertain a motion if we want to go ahead and allow it.
Anything good? With this new hiring, how many are you bringing on?
Well, there's not a real plan in waves. We're just trying to staff it to get back up to where we were, 180, 200 people. And from what we can tell, with the reaction and stuff we're getting from some customers, we think that it may be a little slow, but it'll be a steady incline, and we don't expect any more setbacks unless something weird happens in the Middle East and causes huge disruption. But
So you think you can hire 80 employees pretty quick?
well, that's the one thing we don't know what the labor market's like, because we haven't dipped into it for a while. So it seems the unemployment rate's still very low, but we'll see what we can get. That's been a problem for everybody in the county, quite honestly, for the last couple of years. Everybody needs people, but then there's not a pool to pick from. And the majority of our employees, about 65%, live here in Adams County.
You know how many roughly are from Monroe that work there?
I don't. There's so many younger kids now. Most of them are from Decatur, around in this area. We do have some that come from Hartford City, some from Portland, and even some from Fort Wayne. But the vast 65%, the last count was concentrated right here in Adams. Some from Bluffton, a few from Ohio. Close by, relatively close by.
Long term, is it the goal to always stay in Monroe, or are you guys looking?
Now, we've got other plants. We've got two other facilities. We've got one in the Poconos in Pennsylvania, and we've got another one in South Carolina. We all build different product lines that are tailored for different portions of the industry. But yeah, we're not going anywhere. We picked this plant out from, it was actually Champion Homes building. They built that back in 69, 70, and we acquired it in 1980. And it's very good. A lot of the trailer manufacturers are competitions right here in Indiana because of supplier locations. It's a hot spot for our industry. So you've got Great Dane Trailers, Wabash National, two of the largest. Then you have the Chinese venture that operates under the name Vanguard over in Monon. You've got this is the home of the home of the semi-trailer manufacturers. So yeah, we're not going anywhere with that.
I'll make a motion to approve.
I'll second that motion.
All in favor? Rio, thank you.
Absolutely.
When did Strick start up here? What year again?
1980.
Okay, good.
I keep forgetting that.
The company was founded in 37.
Oh, was it? Okay, good.
1982, okay.
Okay, Justin, what do you got?
It's been very busy, very busy. I got some stuff to hit on with Clayton, when he comes up, so I'll just run down my little letter here and hit on a few things and jump into the business portion. We are keeping a close eye on the Dodge. It's getting up there in miles. I'd like to get it through this year, and we'll start looking pretty heavily next year into replacing that truck. 250,000 miles is a lot of miles. So just to let you know that that's on the radar. We're still working through the sewer force main stuff. The Polk Street study, it's done. We're modifying a couple things on that. Also, the CCMG, I believe those grants are due, I think October, but it may be November. Our plans for next year for road work currently are partial resurfacing of Andrew Street between Van Buren and Keller, a widening of the other half of Andrew Street from Studebaker to Keller, and then widening of Keller Street from Andrews to the highway, putting in a little bit of curb and some drainage, finishing off the sidewalk where the sidewalk does not exist, making it all ADA compliant so that we have a good, clean direct route out to the ball diamonds for people to walk, and just make that area a lot nicer. It's very narrow. You can't, without parking back off the intersection, you can't make a turn there. And if there's an emergency that happens and an ambulance needs to come through, that could be a little bit of a problem. So the goal is to open that intersection up and make that better and safer for everyone. So that is next year's project. Depending on where those numbers come in, I don't have them back yet. We may add a little bit more resurfacing. We'll just have to see where that goes. And then
Do you want to do that next year?
that's the plan for next year.
Okay.
Yeah, and then I'm trying to work some things out on the financial end of things so that we can maybe build some funds for a couple of years towards Polk Street, and we can split that up. That's kind of what I'm waiting on the numbers for, was splitting that up into a couple of projects, making it a CCMG project, and then we take a lot of the extra fluff that gets put in there out, still allows us to do the same job at a cheaper rate and a little sooner. So they did change the match on the grant from 75-25 to 80-20, so it is better, but they are only doing one round a year now, and there's a little bit less money to pull from. So I'm being told that we shouldn't be affected. They're still planning on funding everyone, so we'll just have to see how that goes. Moving on, this is not on my agenda stuff here, but the plan was we're still working through the lead and copper service stuff. We got verifications that are left that need done, that require some excavation. The plan was to rent a vac trailer because the trucks are too big to get into some of these alleyways where these water mains are on the west end of town. Plus to suck out catch bait or meter pits. So I started working on that. I've got this rental agreement in front of me, but they need a certificate of insurance, and so the insurance company's working on that. The unit is a very expensive unit, and so they require the insurance on the trailer by the renter. So I just don't have anything back from them yet, so I was just asking Clayton, am I allowed to sign if if we have to put, they said it could require an adder to the policy, and then that would just stay on there for future rental things. Am I allowed to sign off on that with board approval? If this gets, if they come back and say, yeah, you do have to have the adder, can I sign off on that?
As long as they approve it, yes.
So, it may cause the premium to go up a little bit because of the adder, but that's because of the rental agreement and what they require. So if they do, am I able to sign the agreement and sign the approval for that?
So if we sign this and you sign off on it, it's just you that's using it, correct?
Well, it'd be me and Carthen, but yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not like, I'm planning on keeping it a week, and hopefully the plan is to knock out as many of these as I can. I've got 60 customer verifications left, but I still have like 120 or so, maybe 150 even, I don't remember the exact number, of our own side that I need to verify. So the plan was to rent it for a week, do it, get our daily activity done, and just go all at it all day, every day, maybe even on a Saturday. It's a 7-day rental agreement, so we would get the most out of it that we could.
I mean, you feel confident enough that?
Yeah, actually, the sewer district just got one exactly like the one that we'll be renting, and they showed me how theirs works, and so yeah, it's simple, it's straightforward. I don't see why there would be an issue. A 3-year-old can do it, I think.
It's gonna improve.
I just don't want, I know I can't sign the insurance into things without your approval, but we have to have that in order to have the rental. So with your approval, can we move forward with that?
I'll entertain a motion for it.
I'll make a motion to accept that.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Moving on, the water main project, as everybody knows, is complete. It went very well. We came in way under budget. Right now, the final change order for the project has been signed by everyone and submitted to SRF for approval. Pending their approval, we can move forward with getting the pay app signed and sent in. So I would like to ask that pending SRF's approval on the change order, that we move forward outside of a board meeting and get the signature. I gotta have Mike sign it, he's the signatory for the SRF funds. Get that signed and submitted back so that Flemings can get paid for the job. Otherwise, it could push it out another 30 days or longer. We've been done for over a month.
So we need to get them paid.
So it's kind of a process to get paid. Rachel can attest to that. So
Yeah, I'm okay.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay.
okay, thank you. Finally, we've been working on some stormwater items in town. Everybody knows that there's been talk of transitioning the county park into the town park, and everybody knows there's a retention pond there and a wet pond. Finding out that the ditch obviously, but then the pond now is property or under the jurisdiction of the Adams County Surveyor's Office and the Drainage Board. So I've met with Mike Worling, the county surveyor, a couple different times. We went over things. I did assist in helping clean up the ditch as much as I possibly could for a couple days. Then Mike ran into Rodney Rinkenberger, who is in charge. He's the director of the Maumee River Basin Commission. We've met, had some really good meetings. Me, Mike, Rodney, county engineer, Steve Bailey, went over a bunch of stuff. I've asked Mike to come and kind of explain what we're looking at and what kind of our steps are moving forward. We have not agreed to anything yet, but there is kind of a plan in place, and he will explain that to you, and you guys can ask all the questions you want. I think Rodney's here with us as well, Steve, so. Mike? Do you need the computer up or anything?
No, I didn't, we really don't have, I have some maps I can show, but we really don't have much yet to do. So I'm Mike Whirling, Adams County Surveyor. This started because of the discussion to turn from the Parks and Recs of Adams County to the town of Monroe. I have no problem with that. We have the Andrews Ditch, the whole system, and legal drains out to the Yellow Creek over here. That's the responsibility of the county surveyor. So, got me thinking, before we transfer that, could there be some benefit of holding back a little bit and looking at this? I have no problem transferring it, but, so, we got together and we talked quite a while. I have a lot of the historic drainage board stuff in here. I know, that pond, when was the pond built? Do you guys know?
A long time ago.
1971. And it was a soil conservation service, which is the forerunner of the NRCS, National Resource Conservation Service, when Jerry Sensor was in the Gator office. And they put, I think, $14,000 into that. Oh no, $12,000 building that, and that was 1971. Yeah. So I think that pretty much covered everything, but over the years I saw there was some head walls put in and maintenance on it, So it needs maintenance now on the guard around there, so we have to get that before winter no matter what. We'll work on that. So with our meeting, what come up was, we know that there's a lot of stormwater issues in town here. Well, I mean, the whole system is, we're pretty flat here. So we were invited Rodney Rickberger from the Maumee River Basin Commission, and we just put our heads together, what could we do? And what we have proposed is, and we're working on getting a estimate, a plan by Christopher Burke Associates, an engineering firm, to develop a stormwater plan of the area, well, in phases. The first phase, the phase one was an overall view of what we have here. Where is the water coming from? What can it hold? What can it do? Second phase is possibly looking at the detention pond for the criteria, the storm criteria, capacity, and does it get an expansion happen there? We don't know. Third, we were looking at the Wagner tile, the one that runs through where I'm at, over to the west here, and drains into Yellow Creek, and that whole area back there is possibly, if it was improved, would give you guys expansion of Monroe. And we know that some of the water, there's some water standing over there in them subdivisions, there's problems with it. Maybe the fourth phase could be the Hocker tile then, on the east side, that the problems with the Strick last year, or the spring goes into that whole end goes into that Hocker tile. There's two of them there, and we have illegal drains. They are old, we know that, we're doing a lot of repair on them. It would be great to have a project to replace them, but we're talking a lot of dollars to get that big a tile in. So you guys are, the Monroe, every household in the watershed here is paying $20 a year for the maintenance fee. The farmers for agriculture is paying $1.25 an acre for everybody with larger acreage. Over the $20. If it falls under it, that's the minimum. So, the Andrews system is, we have some money in that right now, and there's about 700 acres that drain into the pond. I'm rounding these off. And the overall acreage is about 850 and some, it's not on my sheet right here, 800 and some acres in the entire watershed as it gets out to the thing, so that's a lot of land, and we want to do it. So Rodney can tell us, maybe I'll ask him if he wants to talk about a study, what the possibilities are on that, and the big cost is funding, we know that. So far, we haven't incurred any expenses, it's all talk and meetings. So, is that something you want to talk about, what the study could benefit? Well, either way, I think this room would probably lend better to.
I haven't planned on talking, but.
Oh, yeah, well, let's see.
Basically, one of the things that, you know, when Mike and I started talking about, and we've known about some issues down here, but just could never get any traction to try to get down here and help you folks. And I guess I'll start out with that. The Maumee River Basin Commission is a quasi-state agency. We're made up of 6 Northeast Indiana counties, and our role is to assist you folks in the community. We've assisted Decatur, I don't know where you've heard, bought out 101 houses out of the floodplain. So when Mike and I were talking, and we were talking with Steve Bailey, I said, you know, this is a prime project where we could come down and help you folks. We would help fund the study. You folks tried to make sure that Justin knows that, you know, this is for Monroe, not the Maumee River Basin, that we would assist you both financially and technically. I'm a professional land surveyor, nationally certified floodplain manager. And when we started talking, I said, we need to look at this holistically. You can't just look at your Hocker tile, your Wagner tile, or the, what's the
Andrews.
Andrews, yeah. I said, we need, you know, you need to look at this in a big picture, so you really know what you have. And everybody's on board with doing that. And that's what Mike talked about as phase 1. And then once you know that, then you can start planning for the future and, you know, see if there's possible projects that can be implemented to alleviate, particularly like on that Wagner tile area. Mike talked a little bit about seeing if there's anything that can be done with the existing, either expansion of the existing wet pond or expansion of the dry pond area. And then is it okay to talk about the wetlands?
I mean, yeah, I mean,
We've even floated.
It's an idea.
Yeah, but, about maybe some constructed wetlands and possibly, you know, putting in, I don't want to steal your thunder, Justin. You should be talking.
I've talked to you a little bit about it, and with the parks coming and getting involved. Youth in town is huge now. Trails, we don't have any trails. The idea, it's a pipe dream to turn it into a wetlands and put elevated trails out over it. It can be used all year round, and we don't have to maintain it because Mother Nature will maintain it itself. It's a big area, and a lot could be done with it. It would be very good for the community. It's a time thing, so.
I have started some inquiries with the NRCS and some of the locals, there are some of the people who could fund that, and there is money out here. I haven't got a detail. That is a pretty hot topic now, trails and wetlands. So there's actually a lot of nonprofits that are funding wetlands also, so.
As far as those nonprofits go, how do you find those or get a hold of these nonprofits to get a conversation started?
We just start looking and start talking. You know, I worked at Allen County Saltwater Conservation District before the county surveyor job, and up there's quite a few existing in Allen County. The names right now I don't have in front of me. That's just a matter of finding them.
The bottom line is these guys have connections. They can help us find money. They can help us find resources. And you know, I know when you look at something like this as a town, it's like overwhelming. It's like, where are you going to find I don't know what it's going to cost to get a study done, but where do you find that money to find out where you start? these are the guys that can help us with that. So that's, you know, it's, and as a county, we belong to the MRBC, we help pay part of Rod's salary, so he works for us, works for you, works for the county.
I mean,
So,
obviously helping the town, you know, with drainage, I think is a great thing. I think what, we were a town of, what, 700?
No, we're closer to 900.
I was gonna say,
Yeah. We're somewhere between like 875 and 900.
I mean, we can only do so much, so any little bit is gonna be.
We've kind of come full circle on all this. I mean, we started out working 14 years ago on a sewer, and we worked on water, and we have never done storm. I mean, the most important things is your drinking water and making sure your toilets are gonna flush and do what they're supposed to do. And yes, we're still working through issues on the sewer, but it works. But, you know, people don't like having water in their basements, and, you know.
we've even talked about the potential, you know, with the potential of the 124 project coming through town, how having an overall stormwater treatment plan that State Highway could use then as a part of their planning for rebuilding that 124 through town. I think that would be helpful to them, and on top of that, it would make sure that they don't do something to hurt us.
Yeah.
As, you know, and leave us in worse shape than we are today.
Yeah, with the context that I had for that project on mostly just stormwater, I think this stormwater scared them, or made them realize that this isn't an easy fix for them, because they have to handle all the water on their property. So, you know, they have to have a way to go with that, so.
So the way I understand it, I don't know what we're gonna find or what actually is gonna happen. We've got Christopher Burke Engineering, who's a firm that Ron works with consistently on stormwater issues. We work with them a lot at MRBC. They are working on a proposal right now. Once that proposal's done, they're gonna have a number that we're gonna have to look and see if we can figure out how to fund. The good news is, with Rod's help, with the county's help, Drainage Board, we are committed to that drainage system, to this drainage system, and making sure that it functions properly. And we've got resources that we can bring to bear, so it's not just solely on the town of Monroe to figure out how to fund this thing. So that's kind of, not to, maybe to sum up here, that's kind of what we're looking for. We wanted to inform you first off of what we're doing, so you don't think we're out here spending money that your money that you don't have. The good news is we haven't spent a dime yet. Rod's been down here 3 times from Fort Wayne, and Mike spent some time, and Justin, but we've invested some time kind of kicking the tires on this thing to see where it can go. But the bottom line is we're going to get a proposal eventually, hopefully within a little time here. There's going to be a number associated with that. And then there's going to be a question of, can we afford to do that, and where's the money going to come from? But what Christopher Burke Engineering is tasked with doing is a whole stormwater management plan for the whole drainage system, not just the town of Monroe, and not just Yellow Creek, and not just for the whole system. Guys, I'm sorry, I didn't help you jump in.
So you're fine.
So
I appreciate you doing that.
our first question was, where does the stormwater flow? And it's really hard to tell how that gets through town. And I love it the way it goes between alleys and houses and back in there. So the county, Adams County IT department has, with my help, we've done some preliminary work just locating the main channel through your town and some of the grades on it there.
So Mike's been doing some of the field work already that Christopher Burke Engineering would rely on to pull their study together.
The new equipment for the county, what IT has, was kind of had a few bugs in it, so we've been down here more learning how to use it than to, the last 2 times we've been very successful, so I'll say that.
we're gonna get better information. I found out that my elevation was turned off in our system, so we're working on that.
And the county, Hayden's getting better too with.
After they're done, I'll have another question for you guys. They just jarred my memory.
What you're seeing there is the 30-inch starting at the pond and going through town. Now, there's additional tiles in there, and a lot of them are not open to manholes. It'll take more work to find them what actually flows. That was the beginning, so.
Well, Justin, you guys have incurred costs because. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah, how much guys do you, how much Any questions, any comments? Still on right here?
I mean, I'm excited. I want to see this move forward.
Mike, does that eventually drain to the same areas then?
Pardon?
Does it eventually?
Yeah, Yellow Creek goes in up by Pleasant Mills.
Justin, do we need to approve anything tonight?
I don't know because there's nothing to approve.
Good, I just want this to go forward, so.
Yeah, once they get their proposal, then we'll be back. Or if something comes up that we need to get some sort of approval on, we'll make sure and get it addressed.
How deep is the pond? Just asking.
We floated it. We did float the pond, Carthen did. How deep do you think it is?
I'd say 10 feet.
10 feet?
6.5.
How about 32 inches?
You know what, I was gonna say, it probably needs,
It needs dipped out or something, but
there's probably.
It's 30 years since
hasn't
I've been on that pond.
I don't think that pond has been really touched since '71.
Should be dredged, I guess.
Well, there's a brush.
It was brushed one time I saw.
The good news is Mike mentioned that there's some maintenance that needs to be done on before winter. You know, that's on us, that's on the drainage board, so we'll take care of that.
And anything below the outlet of that pond doesn't benefit stormwater detention because, you know, we look at it from the outlet up and not the outlet down. So yes, it'd be nice to get people back there to swim. It's really amazing as we walked around town, how many people want to talk to me about the water here. Well, my water runs through the backyard over here. You know, it comes up to my house foundation. And we used to swim in the pond. Really interesting that was the town dump.
Yeah.
Part of the plan, guys, and you probably assumed this, but part of the plan is looking at all those residences that we have kind of on the outside of town that do not have any stormwater service at all. Where their service goes to a private tile and private tile's plugged, and so their backyards are flooded or whatever. Part of that would be to resolve that issue as well.
Do we have any fish in there?
there are, it gets fished, yeah. Usually, most of the only thing I ever see anybody pull out is carp. But, I mean, it's just full of sediment.
Yeah.
And so that's where, yeah, dipping it out benefits them because they don't want the sediment running down the tile.
It's a perfect sediment trap for the system.
It catches, what, 2 miles worth of storm water?
It goes, the watershed goes down to 200 south.
So you got 2 miles worth of sediment coming in and dumping into that pond, so.
There's a lot of farm ground there. That's the 700 acres or 750 that's going in.
Don't be surprised if you don't find some tires in it too.
We're on video.
I'm just saying.
Is that what Zerkers used to do it there?
No, that's what.
Mike was gonna go back and get those, he forgot.
I have heard tell some stories about how kids used to do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
A lot of.
So we'll keep in touch. That's what we're gonna say.
I appreciate this, yes.
Fisher Works, one of the top firms in the, state, I'd say country, for this type of work.
We appreciate you looking into this. Like all you guys, we appreciate that.
Yes.
Hey, Mike, the $20 a year and the 125 per acre, that's paid to who?
That's to the drainage board.
Drainage board.
And that goes into the Andrews system.
I got one more thing.
They can only speak to
Jog my
Jordan.
memory.
I said, okay, very good. Hey, thanks a lot, Andrews.
We got GIS equipment. I've been shooting in catch basins and stuff. The problem with it right now is the stormwater side of it. Water set up sewer setup, but the stormwater has its bare bones. There is gonna be a proposal coming, kind of labeled GIS through Wessler. They'll set it all up, they'll show me flow, inlets, it'll be nice. But it's labeled GIS so that it can be used for anything GIS related across the board. There'll be like a do not exceed amount of X attached to it. Am I able to sign something like that, an agreement, or does that need to be done? Can that be approved to be signed, and then, because I've got money in stormwater to pay for the work they're gonna do to set up the GIS portion on the stormwater, but they wanna run it through an agreement.
Do you have any approximation of what it'll cost? Or
Not to exceed right now, well, the stormwater is not to exceed $5,000.
Okay.
But the agreement would be like a $10,000 not to exceed amount. And so there would be money left over in there that if we needed to do anything, update anything on any of the other areas, then that is already an approved agreement. So they won't move forward without the agreement. They're preparing it. I just don't have it.
Who's that through again?
Wessler, our engineering firm, they're the ones that set up all of our GIS.
They set up our GIS originally.
Ours, well, so our GIS is pay as you go. So we own the equipment, but there's no software associated with it. It's managed by another off-site company, Esri.
Mm-hmm.
And so, but when we go out and do any survey work, we buy 10-hour packs for like $145. And then we can use those an hour at a time. And it's really cheap, it works really good for us, and we go out for an hour or so if we have time and we do that work. And if that hour runs out and we need more time, we just go into the app and we click add an hour. But the actual pipes, the lines, all the special features that go into showing it on the map, they're not in there. I can show diameter of a pipe and I can put a structure on. So I can draw a line showing a pipe, but I can't show flow, I can't show anything other than size. And so the features will allow you to do type of pipe, condition of pipe, direction of flow, number of outlets in a manhole. It's all added within the app. That's what Wessler would build and put into our program through Esri. But there has to be an agreement. They want an agreement signed, kind of like what you did with the sewer, where it was a not to exceed $10,000 to look into some of this force main issue. It would be similar to that. There would be a not to exceed. We budget money for stormwater, so then Rachel can just pay that through the stormwater fund.
So there's some additional contract that we decide for, right?
Right. I'm asking if they
Just
can
the
approve it
amount.
tonight, and then when that comes in, I can get it signed. That way they can move on it, so I can keep going on this for them.
I mean, as far as moving forward goes, having all that information, I don't know what it says. Why do you need it?
It's for all of our mapping, plus we share it with them.
So
We have it so that we
it'll
know
help
in the future.
the end goal as far as,
It's part of asset management. Just like the water mapping is the asset management, it lists all of our valves, shut-offs, water tower, water plant, sewers the same way, it lists all of our different mains and things like that, pumps.
how long will it take for them to build that software?
Not long.
They just put together.
It's just a matter of putting templates. They're all built with templates, so.
And then how long do you think it's gonna take for you to get all that information?
Well, I've already got 165 features already in the system. I gotta update some of them because what we didn't have, I didn't think that our software was capable of it, but it is. It's just, it was turned off inside the system for elevation. So I'll have to go back and update all the points I've done to get the elevation. And then we can do elevation of pipe and that will also assist with showing direction of flow and.
Do they have a rough, do they think it's gonna be 10,000 for all that?
It's not, but no, it's a not to exceed.
Not to exceed.
Five, I got it on a not to exceed 5,000.
Okay.
But the extra would be left over for if we needed to add or modify features in any of the other programs. So then there's no approval needed because we have the money already allocated or approved.
What do you guys think?
Yeah, go ahead.
I would say you need to just make a motion to approve a contingent at this point, if Justin's okay with it. I mean, contingent on it not going above, not to exceed $10,000.
Well, that's where we're gonna leave it. And then
Okay.
once, if we get burnt, we burn through that, say it takes 3 years or something.
Then you can come back.
Once it's set up, there shouldn't be a whole lot that needs to be done with it unless there's some sort of weird update that.
I mean, I'm okay with it moving forward if it helps the end goal as far as this project possible.
Right.
So,
That can only help.
so I agree.
I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second that.
All in favor?
Justin, I would still say shoot me the agreement before you sign it so I can just review it quick.
Yep.
Okay. Fire department, you got anything up there?
I was just gonna read this off to the fire, or do you wanna,
That's fine.
do you want me to read it off?
Yeah, you can go ahead and read it off.
Alright.
You're fire credit.
So as far as fire goes, Chris Burkhardt wasn't able to make it tonight, so he wrote a letter. It states, "I apologize for my absence from tonight's meeting. Tonight is the annual required EMA LEPC table exercise. As a board member of the EMA LEPC, I'm required to attend this exercise. My activity report for the month of July includes a total of 11 calls for services. 7 of the 11 calls were medical-based calls that included motor vehicle crashes. One of the motor vehicle crashes required extrication from the Rescue 1 team. The other 4 calls were fire-related activities. I'm happy to report that there were no injuries or losses to the property during these events. We have hired a new firefighter. He has already completed the state-required training. Once he completes our in-house training, he will be ready to respond to emergency calls. We will be conducting interviews with 2 other candidates within the next 2 weeks. I know that there's some discussions about budget funds that have been earmarked for the fire department. I'm more than happy to discuss the plans for these funds. I ask that you please table these issues until September, and I will make every effort to attend that meeting. Thank you, Chris Burkhardt."
So be it.
Hey, Josh, you said 7 were medicals, that means they had 4 fires, right?
Fire-related.
Oh, fire related, okay.
Okay, clerk treasurer, what you got?
I don't really have it. Oh, I'm sorry.
I would just say we skipped over you had something under town marshal.
Yeah, I figured I'd circle back to that.
Perfect, sure.
The only thing, I don't even have it on the agenda, but I would like to see if you guys would agree that I turn off the comments on Facebook when I post things.
Yep.
Are you guys okay with that? I mean, Justin and I can leave the message option if somebody wants to email us or something, but.
That's fine. I mean, as far as that goes, yeah, it's only supposed to be informational anyway, as far as my thought is. And
Are we gonna run into any issues?
Not if it's universally shut off. It's inappropriate to delete a comment after it's already made.
Okay.
If you preclude anyone from making any comments, it's fine.
So, no comment.
Yeah, no, I don't have a problem with that.
I would motion for that though.
Yeah.
Yep.
You say we need to make a motion for that? All right, I'll make a motion to turn on.
Second calls.
All in favor?
Thank you.
Is that all you have, Rachel? Okay. Okay, town marshal, bringing approval of the body camera. We're good with that, are we?
Correct.
Okay. So I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to approve the purchase of the body camera.
Second.
Okay, all in favor?
What might that cost?
I have no idea. Well, we've got a basic idea, Okay, and then we are going to appoint,
$30,146.
That's fine.
30,000?
Under the purchasing statutes, we didn't have to like bid it out or anything, so.
The body camera with
That's under the-
5-year
That's under the 50,000.
warranty,
5-year.
cloud. It has a 5-year cloud and a 5-year warranty.
30,146. Wow. I would never guess that.
Is that correct?
Yes.
That was how much?
yeah, I think that was correct.
Because I wrote it down.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know if Rachel had it.
Yeah, you're right.
Okay.
Okay, we are going to appoint a town marshal tonight, and it's going to be a joint affair between Derek Loshi and Ethan Hunter. They'll be our co-marshals.
What was your name, sorry?
Derek Loshi
Ian.
and Nathan Hunter.
Thank you.
D-E-R-E-K, right, Derek, that way?
Yes.
And then Nathan Hunter, okay.
I'll entertain a motion to do that.
I'll make a motion to make them co-marshals.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, 3-0. Okay. Town attorney, you got anything for us there?
I do. The first is what I'll present as resolution number 2025-2, which the short title, resolution of the Monroe Town Council regarding street closings for Monroe Days. So similar to last year, this resolution indicates that on September 6th, 2025, which is the date of Monroe Days, from the time of 10 a.m., which this year it is 2 hours earlier than last year, to 10 p.m., the following areas will be closed. Jackson Street from the first northbound southbound alleyway west of South Polk Street to the intersection of Jackson Street and South Center Street. From a geographical, or if you're looking at it, that's basically on Jackson Street. That's from the alleyway just west of Zerber Tire, and then the alleyway just east was Center Street, which is kind of, I mean, it's a small street just east of the Shaka Shack, where the Shaka Shack resides. And then South Polk Street from the south intersection of South Polk Street and Washington Street to the north side of the intersection of South Polk Street and Andrews, again in layman's terms, from Washington to Andrews. I would just request, if you guys are okay with it, just a motion for approval, and I'll have you sign it after the meeting.
Okay, all in favor? All in favor?
Yep, I'll make a motion to accept the ordinance.
All in favor?
I would say too, just on that, as a kind of housekeeping note, and Josh brought it up, I think it's a good idea, given that some commercial properties in the town of Monroe limits definitely feel that they want notice of things. So I suggested that we perhaps, or I could talk with Rachel about basically just getting copies of this enclosed and sent to each of those commercial properties that will be within the lane closure or the road closure area.
Can you do that for us, Rachel?
You bet.
Okay, thank you.
Parking lot.
Oh, yeah, the parking lot too.
No.
Yes, that doesn't require a resolution because it's a parking lot, and I always suggested to Josh was that, we need to just you need to put a blockade on the south end of that parking lot, because obviously that section of Jackson's going to be closed. But I would say, maybe, and if Rachel wants to prepare something, maybe rather than even, sending a copy of this, just a letter with, what area is going to be closed, at what time, on what date, and also note that that parking lot is going to be closed as well.
We talked about the parking lot though, and you said remind me at the board meeting, a time. No parking, remember? 10 to,
Oh, yeah.
should we just have him do an ordinance on that?
Yeah, we need to get it.
I'll talk to you about it.
Yeah.
Oh, it's separate.
Yeah.
Yes.
It should have one of my park.
Correct.
what did we say, 10 or 11 to 6? Is that what it was, or 5:30?
I think 5-ish would be fine.
So I'll get with him. I got some other stuff I'm gonna have to go over with him anyhow. For alleys and.
There shouldn't be any need for overnight parking at all. And I don't wanna have any issues with it.
No, I agree with you.
Besides that, that's, if we have snow or anything like that, we want to get that cleared out. It's kind of hard to clear it out because somebody gets parked overnight, yeah, you can't get through.
Will there have to be postings there as well? Signs that
Yeah,
say.
you'll need an ordinance and then a sign enforcing the local ordinance. So, we'll introduce the ordinance, have to have a public hearing because it has to have some enforcement provisions. After the public hearing, you can adopt it. Then after the signs are posted and 10 days after its post-adoption hearing, after that advertisement, then it'll be effective.
So it won't be done by September 6th?
No, absolutely.
This will be separate. This is more for like a.
I don't think this is related to the dance, no. I was like, I hope you're not one that does.
I got other stuff that we need to talk about, so.
Is that the lot there next to,
Is there Bruce Truck Department and Oliver's?
Yeah, it's
Statutory guidelines.
And Oliver's and, Missouri. You got anything else? for us?
Yes. So we previously introduced and had a public hearing on ordinance number 2025-4, which is short titled, an amendatory ordinance increasing the schedule of rates and charges to be collected by the town of Monroe from the owners of property served by the municipal sewer service operated by the town of Monroe, amending ordinance 2019-4. Based on the introduction at a previous meeting, the public hearing thereon, and we're now at the step where you all can vote to adopt it, and then I assume, I told Rachel I will get to her next week, or by the end of this week, an advertisement so that that advertisement can run. 10 days after it'll be effective.
And that won't be effective on my end until Keystone, our computer service company, will make it effective. It takes 6 to 8 weeks for that.
Is that something we plan on sending stuff out to inform? Like
We're doing the
residents?
paper.
Or do we just?
I normally wouldn't, but I certainly can.
Put it on.
The statutory, the whole idea behind it, when you hear me say we have to advertise all the time in the newspapers, that's really the purpose of those statutes. And I understand not everyone reads the newspaper. That could also be something if you want to put it on Facebook, probably after you turn the comments off.
Okay. And that was a 4%, correct?
No, it was higher than that. 7.5, I think.
7.5% increase?
I think it's been a couple
I
of
think you're right, Justin.
Is that right, Clayton? 7.5? I don't know. And that begins January 1st? When does it start?
It'll go into effect.
Immediately?
As soon as I can get our
The
computer.
legal notice is okay.
Since it takes her 6 to 8 weeks for that to be working on her end, can she get that ball rolling ahead of time?
Is it?
As a Keystone, or what do you mean?
I have
Or
to
do they gotta have the?
They have to have the ordinance signed.
No, I'm gonna say they can't. It's gotta be passed.
I think Justin's quote of the increase was correct, though. I don't have all those numbers.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure
That's
it's
not on the ordinance. But yeah, so for that, I would just request a motion for adoption, and have you guys sign it after.
I'll make a motion to adopt it.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. 3-0.
Not done yet. Okay. Wanted to introduce tonight, and I know I've sent it to you all previously for review and suggestions. Is introduced as ordinance number 2025-5, which is short titled, an ordinance amending ordinance numbers 2009-2 and 2019-3 related to the authorization of the use of golf carts on the streets and alleys of the town of Monroe, Indiana, under specified conditions. I missed the part. short title, but this is also, I basically, the two ordinances it references is our previous off-road vehicle ordinance as well as our golf cart ordinance, and it just seemed prudent to update it generally, so I just combined the two. As you all know, there were some concerns from residents related to, one, just the simple enforcement, but it seemed that our previous ordinance from, I believe that was the 2009 ordinance, was lacking in some specifics. I don't know, rather than taking the time to go through all of this, I mean, I'm more than happy to send a copy of it once it's introduced to the press if they'd like it. Again, it's not becoming effective tonight in any way. It'll be introduced. If they accept that introduction, we'll have to have a public hearing on it and talk about the specifics on that date.
Is it written up now in final form, you think, Clayton, or what?
It's in final form unless we go to public hearing and they're proposed
I
changes
just
at that time.
maybe, just to see what it says, yeah, okay.
I think that the main, and it's more than happy to talk about now, the main difference, other than, more specifics, as in, it used to say the golf carts, I know David pointed this out earlier, it used to say they can go no more than 30 miles per hour, but that's not the only speed limit in the town of Monroe, given that alleyways statutorily can only go 15 in those. So I changed that language to just say that golf carts are not to exceed the speed limit, posted speed limits on any road or causeways within the town limits. It also didn't necessarily talk about how many passengers or occupants should be in there. That goes to the whatever the manufacturer says, how many people should be riding in it. That's the extent. There's seat belts. Operated on the right side of the street. Then generally, an operator of a golf cart or a recreational off-road vehicle shall obey all traffic rules and regulations adopted by the state of Indiana and the town of Monroe. And then the real new addition is, based on discussions, is adding a registration requirement for golf carts. And that would be a registration process that we work through our town marshals, and then we keep a record here in the town of Monroe. That registration fee would be $30, and that's what's been proposed. That, again, more for any of the public if they want to know. The registration is really meant as, again, a means of enforcement, because especially with, it sounds like sometimes children, which that's also in there, that it should be over the age of 16 to drive it.
At least 16, yeah.
If someone sees a child, or the town marshal sees a child, but they, lose the child, but later find the golf cart, there should be a registration sticker. We should be able to identify who's the registered owner of that golf cart. So
that's the first reading of that one, I believe.
yes, so this is the introduction. So if you all would move to accept its introduction, then I'll work with Rachel to get a public hearing set. Probably what's most convenient is just a public hearing set directly before the next regular meeting, unless you want it earlier.
I'll entertain a motion for that.
I'll make a motion to approve 2025-5 as the introduction at this time.
I will second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
3-0. Okay.
Does anybody know how many golf carts there are in Monroe? 50, 80, 90, 100?
I don't know, they won't register, so I don't
That is all I have. Thank you. Unless you guys have any specific questions for me or Justin.
To touch a couple things, we talked about Andrews and Memorial Drive and a speed bump, and I talked to Clayton about that, Clayton Walford, and I talked to Mike about it. We are going to start out with a speed limit and a no outlet sign. So we'll have to work on a speed limit ordinance for them two roads. And then I've also talked with Clayton about alley speed limits and stop signs. We talked about stop signs in alley intersections. Keep cars from flying up and down them. Do we want to try and, some of them are going to be hard to get signs put in to make four-way stops at those intersections in the alleys. I looked at them briefly, cruising around town, doing the catch basin thing. Or do we wanna do like stop one direction and the other direction's a throughway? And also, changing the speed limit maybe to 10 mile an hour, or, cause I think we decided we were doing what, 15 mile an hour on Memorial and Andrews, changing that speed limit to that because it is a cul-de-sac, it is a Little League Diamond, dead end. There really is no reason to go 30 mile an hour from Keller Street to Memorial just to slow down and make a hard 90. A dead end parking lot. So that was kind of the idea behind 15 there. And then the alleys he's saying is already 15. We can leave it at that, but we need to post the signs.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yes.
So
I personally feel, as far as the intersections with the alleys, I think it ought to be a four-way.
and I can try to make some of the issue that we have kind of, and I'll have to see if I can maybe find some bases. Some of those alleys are concrete corners, so you can't drive a stake. You can't drive a post into it, so it needs to be mounted. And at that point, it's possible that it could be mounted on private property.
Well, the only reason why I say that is because it eliminates all confusion. If you have, everybody has to stop at that intersection and proceed. That's just me.
Like blind corners, I can see a four-way stop on blind corners. There's a couple alleys in town that have them. But if you've got a clear throughway where you can see all the way down one way, but the other side is blind, then maybe that side should stop. And we can evaluate it. I haven't had a chance to really evaluate it yet, but I wanted to bring it to your attention.
While we're talking about speed limits, what about Adams Street? I've had people complain about people speeding down that as well.
Speed limit is 30 mile an hour, so it's a matter of having an officer sitting there catching them doing it.
I mean, I would be more comfortable in doing 20, 25 down there.
And you can change the speed limit to 20 mile an hour on all the streets in town if you wanted.
I mean, in town, there's really.
We just gotta post it, and there's a bunch of signs around town, so all you're doing is you're just adding another sign.
So it's almost worth if you change one speed limit, change them all.
Per street, like, yeah. The only reason I said 15 down there is just because, 20 is not really
I mean,
much
that makes
faster.
sense, yeah, that makes sense. 15 down there makes sense.
And maybe even out South Street is a dead end, so you wouldn't know it until you got down to Meridian.
Yeah.
We could put a sign down there that says no outlet and drop the speed limit out there to, we can drop a 20 everywhere, but at least we could put a no outlet sign or something, and people would know. Right. Some of the stuff would be, I can go over some of this with Clayton and get his feedback once we look at some aerials.
Why don't we table it and just kind of get an idea what.
I can start putting signs out for alleys. There's already enforceable ordinance through the state, so, okay, that's all I had.
As somebody who lives on an alley, I agree with you. Because people drive my alley like it's the city street. And you walk out, back door.
I just think common sense dictates that they gotta stop.
I got a parking lot off the alley, but, sometimes it's a hairy situation, just pull it out. You force them to stop, at least.
Right.
So, for what it's worth.
Thank you.
So, yeah, that's all I had.
Anybody got any other comments from the gallery out here?
On anything?
Anything?
All right. Uh-oh. I do. Speaking of that alley, you guys chip and sealed a couple weeks ago. Couple concerns. Justin knows where it's at, because he's worked on that alley. When I chip and sealed, they covered the drain without picture. So I come home from work and it's like, holy
So you
crap.
uncovered that drain?
I did. I took a scraper and a spade.
I thought they had something over that drain.
They did not.
Okay.
So I got home from work about 5 o'clock. And then if you look at the last picture.
I'll see if I can find a a different lid for that, because that lid's kind of hard to get off of there
And
anyhow.
that's fine, I want you to be able to go back and, to whoever did it, and say, hey, look, if we do this in the future, you don't cover, you don't cover storm drains. I mean, this is perfect, to me, it was a perfect meeting to do that, because we're talking about the storm drains.
Right.
But the last picture, the look down the alley, I don't know how that happened with the stones, but there's no way for me to mow and not turn my mower up with that amount of stones laying in my yard.
I don't know how the new machine runs. Their old one used to be manual. I watched them work that thing.
So the other side, if you look at the picture, the left side,
Yeah.
it's clean. The right side,
Yeah, I see.
so when I'm out there cleaning it off, my neighbor is Tony Case.
Yeah,
I mean, I live right behind you guys.
Yeah.
He actually has stones in his pool.
In his pool?
Yeah, he is not happy.
How do you get stones in his pool?
When they were sweeping or whatever, they did it, he didn't tell me how many he had, he said there's stones in the bottom of his pool.
I'll stop and talk to
So
him.
stop
Yeah,
talking,
nobody
yeah.
told me anything about it.
No, I know, and I'm just, and then, there was a car,
Justin, who did that?
I don't know, you see the white car sitting there?
Yeah.
There's tar all the way down the side of that car. So, just some issues that maybe we just talk to the folks.
Is there any way to come over them and?
I got the number.
So,
Who was the company that did that?
Pavement Solutions.
so my question is there somebody that can come out and help with those stones? I mean, I don't mind going out, I'm not afraid of hard work, but I don't feel like I should have, I don't feel like I should have
We
to
can
do
go
it.
out there and,
Throw them back out in the alley.
if I can get my broom back, I can probably broom them out way better than what a rake will even get.
Rake, or, I mean, you'll never get them out.
Where's your broom at?
Well, that's a whole nother talk. The broom is on its last leg. I didn't bring it up. I do have a price. I'm gonna try and get it through the year. He told me he can make it work through the year, but we need to decide, do we wanna fix it? It's over 20 years old. It's gonna cost $10,000 for a new one. That's with the trade-in. But it's been welded on, and the seals are bad in one pump. And then the pump that runs the main broom, it's shot, it needs to be replaced. I mean, it's over 20 years old, so they got that whenever they had the Bobcat. And I think they had the Bobcat a good 10 years or better before I started. So,
Well, that's something you can bring up there, but yeah, see if you can't help him out and get that.
Yeah. Is that something we could use that back on? It's cleaning all that out?
maybe, maybe.
Like pull that cover and then back whatever they.
Well, we can see, yeah, we can do that, like,
So, I don't know if there was any other catch basins in town.
No.
If you're checking your alleys, you might wanna just.
they only did, so I break this down, Polk Street East, Polk Street West. So they only worked on the east side this year because they did the west side last year, so, or 2 years ago.
Is there any way to talk to that guy about his car, about the tar on there too? I mean,
What do you?
As far as-
He didn't come, did he?
I was just bringing it, I wasn't doing it so you guys would have to be on the hook for it, I just wanted to let you know.
That's a car that's in the tow zone. I mean, that's what we're gonna start hitting on.
So, I just, it was more just to make them aware of the things that they did.
I mean, I don't like the fact that he's going over manhole
It was probably a miss, it happens.
What about the
It's
one
in and
behind the
out.
house? Have you checked the rest of the manholes to make sure they were uncovered?
There's no other that's the only alley that had the manhole, or catch basin.
Okay.
That's the only one that had a catch basin.
I just hate to ruin the good work you did a few years ago to make it actually drain.
I appreciate it. Tell us.
Did you talk about the SRF payout?
Huh?
Did you talk about that
Uh-huh.
payout? Wow. What's that?
Yeah, I mean, that's something like the stones in the grass, so
I mean,
it's right of way. It's 16-foot right of way. So it's in the right of way, technically.
I know, but who mows it?
just like anything else, your right of way goes to the center of the road and.
I get it.
mean, I get it, I understand the
But it's my
frustration.
mower, so, I mean,
No, I get it, and I'm not arguing it. I will come help you get your
no,
stuff done.
that's what I'm saying, I don't care, I mean, I mow it, it's not a big deal, but.
I wouldn't
I'm not
wanna tear
gonna-
my mower up.
I'm not gonna tear my mower up,
Right.
you know, I mean, if I do something, if I do a boneheaded, if I'm working and I make a boneheaded mistake, I gotta fix it. And to me, that's just kind
All
of a
right,
boneheaded mistake.
I'm not disagreeing with you. The catch basin, that's a simple miss. It happens, so. But that lid, I have not liked that lid for quite some time because I really don't have anything to get that lid off. The holes are too narrow in it, so I'm gonna see what I can find that will be a little better suited for that. It's just an odd catch basin, so.
Well, thank you for uncovering it.
Yeah, I didn't realize that. I
It was
thought
the night of the parade.
It was still fresh at least.
It was, yeah.
Hard enough on it.
Okay, yeah, we'll help get that taken care of.
Thank you.
Well, if we have nothing else, I would entertain a motion for adjournment.
Take a motion to adjourn.
I'll second that.
All in favor? Yeah, good.
Hey, Justin.
Thanks, guys.
Eric, I'm leaving, it's my birthday, I'm going home.
Some of the 15-mile speed limits here. Andrews and Memorial Drive, we're gonna Andrews and Memorial Drive.
From Keller, yeah, Andrews and Memorial from Keller Street all the way to the cul-de-sac.
Tony, and then Gilders.
Cool, sir.
Okay.
Which is on Memorial. The
And
cul-de-sac.
short drive Yeah, they said talk about 10.
It was just,
But 15 is definitely, they're gonna put one at 15.
15 is all the alleys because it's a state statute.
Now that one's go 15, go for that, okay.
And then 15 mile an hour, 20, 16 or 20.
Andrews and Memorial, there, they intersect, did they intersect? I don't know where that is.
It's the ball diamonds.
Down there, okay, out the east side, yeah, okay.
Out the east end.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's a cul-de-sac. It's Andrews.
I don't go down there very much, I don't think about it.
Matter of fact, you want to be.
How old are you? How about that? I'll be 76. I've got 30 years yet.
You're there, yeah.
Oh, well, don't leave yet.
All right, thanks, appreciate
I believe so, the amount, the actual
Yeah.
isn't in the ordinance, so I don't have that. So if I would have said that though when it was introduced.
I drove back there last Saturday, didn't even realize.
Also, I want to find out when is Memorial Day? When is that going to be?
Right, yeah.
Hey guys, I'm gonna talk to you.
You didn't do it your first public hearing right now.
Your national icon. Also, the two cops.
I'd rather not be